Jay here for Stretford Paddock. This is a one-on-one interview with our old mate, or our mate who's been on the channel quite a few times. I don't want to say you're old. Steve from the 1958. Good to chat to you again. Steve, we thought we'd have a chat. Me and you were always in the conversation because of the protest that's planned ahead of the Fulham game from the 58. You've performed a minor miracle in sort of uniting a lot of United fans, a lot of fan channels as well who've been talking about this, who've been promoting it, who've been sharing it on social media. So it's good to chat to you and just tell us a little bit about why there's a protest planned on the is it the 1st of February?
Yeah, 1st of Feb against Fulham. Why? Crikey, where to start? I think everybody wished and hoped and prayed that INEOS getting on board would have sent us in the right direction, but it's more than evident now that it's not. The footballing side of things has been poor, being polite. It's been horrendous. You know, the hiring and firing of managers, Dan Ashworth, all costs of which match-going fans have been hammered price-wise. You know, away day games are just getting sanctions thrown out left, right and centre. It's crazy what's going on. I personally don't understand, you know, whoever does his PR's doing a bad job, because he doesn't seem, or INEOS do not seem to be doing anything that appeases anyone, anywhere, that's to do with Man United, as you know, as a fan base. It's absolutely crazy, and we bided our time. We'd a protest planned at the start of the season, and that did get a bit of backlash, but, you know, we put out a survey, we listened. It was half and half, you know, people give them time. We've done that, and here we are now. I'd say we've gone backwards. And, you know, the support we've had since announcing this has been, I'd say it's been bigger than it's ever been. You know, Sully and a bunch of guys on, you know, big online accounts and social media accounts actually reached out to us. Steve, you know, we want to push what you're doing. We're behind you. And, you know, they did a calculated tweet that went out. And, you know, at one point he was trending number 5 in the UK. So the power of social media is massive. But the unity that we're finding now, there was a lot of divisions previously, but now there's still the odd one or two that don't understand or appreciate what we do, but, you know, that's life. But I think as things stand right now, I don't think the support prior to a protest has ever been as big.
Yeah, because you guys have obviously been campaigning and protesting for a number of years now, and sort of speaking out constantly on this channel, other platforms as well, about the Glazers, about the issues, about the debt, about the sort of mismanagement of the club. And we were hoping, and I was with you, we were hoping that let's see what's going to happen.
We had that
conversation, didn't we? Okay, INEOS are coming in, let's see what they're about. And as you just pointed out there, you know, it's difficult to see the positives. It really is. And, you know, I'm sort of left feeling even more deflated than I was a year ago. What do you hope this protest achieves? You've spoken about the support you've had, the reasoning behind it. What do you want to see happen on the back of it?
For me, I hope that it is a big enough attendance. So it's all fine. It's all well and good people saying, yeah, we agree, but you need to put your boots on the ground.
Yeah.
And I want it to be a big enough attendance that we can then look at possibly what the next step will be. Is we're not going to take our foot off the gas now. It's not working. You know, there's a blind man can see that it's going backwards. We're regressing. So, you know, we want the support as it stands now has been phenomenal, but that, you know, that needs to be the run up to, and more importantly, at the actual protest. So, you know, we want people to get out there, get their voices heard. You know, Jim Ratcliffe's been quoted saying if he got as much hate as the Glazers got, he'd walk away. For me, Ratcliffe walking away then puts the Glazers in a position where I don't think it's sustainable that they could keep the club. Would that force a sale? You know, we can only hope, but that's where my head's at with it.
So you talk then about Ratcliffe walking away. That's one option. Do you think that whether he walks away or he stays, do you think a dialogue with the fans would help? Do you think that would be a step in the right direction, or do you think it is getting to the point now where you've had your opportunity, you failed? the time for talk is over. Where's your what's your feelings around that?
It's, we did I think the last protest we did was the Arsenal protest, and it was well attended.
Yeah.
There was over 5,000 turned out for that one. Then, amazingly, the day after, Ratcliffe's PR machine sort of got going, and he did the interview with Gary Neville. I think he did one with the BBC.
He did a little media round.
Yeah, and then the day after that was all of a sudden the stadium announcement, which he was quoted saying there would be, it would be started this summer.
Yeah.
It's a million miles away.
Of course it is.
And whatever people's opinions are on a new stadium, old stadium, the fact is everything's just ground to a halt. He's reduced the price of Nice. It feels very insecure at the minute. And, whether that's a financial issue, I personally don't think they've got a clue what they're doing as far as football clubs are concerned.
There's not much evidence to suggest they have, is there?
No.
We've spoken about this a lot on the channel, and we've spoken about INEOS and is it Lausanne, the other team as well. The amount of managers they go through.
Yep.
Are the clubs improving? Is there any sort of progress on those clubs? And there isn't any from what I can see. And by all means, people can get involved in the comments and let me know I'm wrong. But they go through managers at a rate of about every 14, 15 months to get rid of a new manager, which is kind of what they've done at United.
I mean, what's happened at Nice, I've read a bit of stuff from a supporters club over at Nice, and what's happening with us now is a carbon copy of what's already happened to them, and it doesn't fill anybody with confidence. And again, we all prayed and hoped that it'd go somewhere. If Jim Ratcliffe came out tomorrow and said, I'm buying the Glazers out, I'd probably shit myself. I mean, where is the evidence that this INEOS team, the best in class, is going to take this club forward? I don't see it.
No, I've not seen any evidence. I said this the other day on the channel, mine's more hope than expectation. Now, I'm hoping that something's going to change and there's going to be a turnaround or a light bulb moment or whatever, but it doesn't seem to be forthcoming because at the minute all the evidence is just sort of almost one catastrophe to another in terms of the decisions with the whole, better than anyone, the whole sort of keeping Ten Hag, the manager thing, the Dan Ashford thing, the cuts and stuff, the PR of it, let alone the actual people that it affects. And we both know some of those people that have been affected by redundancies, by cuts, and some of the sort of cost-cutting exercises just seem performative. And, cutting the Christmas bonus or the meals, I mean, how much are you saving? It does seem just bizarre if nothing else. There will be people watching this who'll go, okay, you want Ratcliffe gone, you want the Glazers gone, who do you want to come in? That's a question you're always going to face, and I think you faced ever since you started protesting. Is this a sort of a push to get a different owner in terms of like an oil state, which we always hear? Are you just sort of saying, look, this isn't working, we need something different? What's your take on that?
Yeah, we need something different. I'm not sort of financially astute in the world of billionaires, so I don't know who's out there.
No, me neither.
Who would, at this moment in time, take it on? I mean, it felt to me with it's when they redid Carrington, and the words they used was, our brand is. It wasn't football club. No. It was brand. It's all about brand. I just don't think the bloke gets it. He certainly doesn't get Man United and what it means to us fans.
No. The sad thing is, at very first, I thought, give him a chance. And I thought there's a few little things he did where there was, I know it sounds almost insignificant now, but at the time, attending the Munich Memorial, little things like that, you think, okay, being a bit more present. Yeah. We've not seen that from the Glazers. No. That's a step in the right direction. Starting a dialogue with fans. Okay, this is what I want to see more of. But then it just sort of went backwards. Yeah. And I've just been massively, massively disappointed. I'm not going to lie to you, because I was someone that actually thought Jim Ratcliffe might be a good thing.
Well, he talked the talk at the beginning, didn't he?
I'm not going to lie to you. I kind of bought into it a bit. I thought, all right, I didn't quite buy into the whole local boy from Fails we've done, but I thought he seems to care a little bit more, or a lot more than the Glazers did, and he seems to have this understanding of, right, let's get people in the right positions. So this could be a good thing. But so far, we just haven't seen that. I mean, what would you say to people at SD who want to get involved and can't get down to Old Trafford for starters? Let's say you physically can't get down to Old Trafford for the protest, but you're as angry as me and you are at what's going on, and you want to, sort of show your anger.
Online support can be as powerful as being at the stadium and making a noise at the stadium.
Yeah.
And follow us on our socials. These guys, this group of sort of social media, big social media accounts, and I confess I don't know them all.
No.
A couple of them I speak to regularly.
Yeah.
And they're on our media group. Over time we've built up a relationship, and they genuinely do want to push without an agenda what we're doing because of what's happening at the football club. And I think anybody who's genuinely, their interests are wanting the best for the football club, then reach out. You know where to find us, and I'll speak to, collaborate with whoever needs be. So it's social media's out there, everything that's posted. I mean, like I said, the collaboration with the guys the other day, that it trended at number 5 in the UK.
Well, yeah, we saw it, and like I said at the beginning of this interview, it's quite rare that a lot of United fan channels, a lot of United big accounts on social media will all share something collectively.
Yeah.
And everyone did that, ourselves included. We got a message and it was like, we always share what you guys are doing anyway.
Yeah.
So it was sort of refreshing to see that. And I think it's indicative of where everyone's head's at.
I agree.
Because, you've said earlier, it's well known United fans don't agree on a lot of things.
Yeah.
We argue a lot, but everyone seems to be on board with this and at least sort of willing to listen to you guys because of what we're seeing at the football club. If you could speak directly to Jim Ratcliffe, what would you say to him? I know this is kind of speaking by proxy with this process, but if you could send a message to him, what would you say? Would you just say, look, what
it ain't working, pal. It ain't working.
Yeah.
I'm trying to come up with a sentence without swearing, but it isn't.
You can swear on this channel. Steve.
Yeah, I know, but
you've watched it. I know. I get your point.
My dad will be watching.
All
so.
right, fair enough. Yeah,
but
nothing blue on air.
Yeah, do you know what? It ain't worked out. If what you put in since you've took your partial shares is, if what you put in is your best, then it's not good enough.
Yeah.
It is not good enough for a club. It's not good for any football club, but for Man United and the size that we are, it's just not good enough. And as you said, we all had, I think it was desperate hope more than anything.
Desperate hope's a good term. Yeah,
and
I agree with
and
that.
you wanted it to work. Irrespective of, I think everybody was okay. I think for me the most disappointing thing was we hoped it was a stepping stone to buy the club.
Yeah.
And I think it's more than apparent now that that is not the case. So, unless you're going to buy the club, which I pray to God you don't with what we've seen so far, but, you're no better than the Glazers. Yeah,
it's such a shame. It really is. And we've heard a lot of things from Sir Jim Ratcliffe and other members of INEOS as well. And, talk is one thing, innit, but we need to see some change, and we're just not seeing it.
No,
we're just not
absolutely
seeing it, unfortunately. I was hoping there'd be a day where we didn't have to have these conversations. With all due respect, I love chatting to you, but we don't have to have protests. We don't have to have anger. We don't all get disillusioned. I'm not saying you're going to love your owners. I don't think you need to do that.
No.
But where you don't feel the need to consistently protest against them because they're doing what they should be doing, and we've just never been in that.
You just want to
be.
I think for me, you want to be content that as a fan, these people, yes, it's a business. We're not stupid.
Yeah.
But as a fan, you're doing the best you can with the football team. So when we pay our money, we're happy coming in. I mean, the last game, I saw it on social media, and I never actually, at the time, it didn't dawn on me, but it might have been the Brighton game, and there was just an eerie silence at the end. A couple of games beforehand, there'd been some boos, there'd been some unhappiness, and there was just this silence. It was like defeat. It's like, okay, well, we're used to this now. This mediocrity, we're used to it, and it's not what Manchester United's all about.
No, you're right. I mean, I remember as a kid, I used to love going to Old Trafford. My dad took me. It was like the biggest treat, and I joke, but I'm only half joking. Now when I take my kids, it's like a punishment.
Yeah.
I'm like, if you don't behave yourself, you go to Old Trafford again, because it's just like you take them around and just, it's the same old, same old. We just want to feel that.
Yeah, well,
that special connection
I'm taking
again.
Jake tomorrow, and he's like, normally it's like, he's nearly like, do I have to?
I know, that's what I was like.
Jesus.
If I can, I'll take my two youngest, but my daughter was like, oh, I'm all right.
Yeah, got plans.
Yeah, it's me.
Get my hair done.
Yeah, exactly. It's just me and my son. Look, it's the 1st of February, ahead of the Fulham game. What time should everyone get there? And what time should everyone...
It's a 2 o'clock kickoff.
Yeah, I think it's...
So it'll be a 1 o'clock start. We're just finalising as to where. And as soon as we've got that info, I'll share it with yourself, and we'll, you can put that out there. But it will be a 1 o'clock start, and we just urge as many match-going fans that feel the way we do to get down and get your voices heard, and also the non-match going fans to make the noise on social media, because it does get seen and it does get heard.
Yeah, and do get involved with 58. You can always contact them. You always dialogue with fans, and I like that, because people might have ideas, they might have questions, and you guys are always sort of communicating with people, because you need that dialogue, don't you? You want people to feel engaged, and I think you guys have been very good with that.
My DMs are open. I probably regret saying this, but
that's famous last words.
By
the time you're watching this, you might have changed that.
My Twitter's been deleted, but it's and I've had conversations where they've started off with people being angry, towards us.
Yeah, well,
but then as that conversation, we've had conversation over time, and they get an understanding with what we can do and what we can't do, and then all of a sudden they get it and they understand. And the same works for ideas as well. People have thrown stuff at us, and it's like, do you know what, that's actually not a bad idea. And it's just, there's nothing wrong in reaching out, and abuse will get ignored, the standard, but it's reach out. I'm approachable, and I've never shied away from speaking to anybody about what we do. So
no, and I appreciate you coming on the channel. You're always,
no problem.
Always happy to come on here and chat to us. And like Steve said, get involved in sharing the message. If you can get down there, get down there. If not, you can always spread it online and let people know what's going on. And like we always say, this is a collective effort. And I know you guys are leading the way, but we just need to see some real change at Manchester United. We're just not seeing it, are we? Steve, it's always a pleasure. There's a link in the description to the 58. Go and check them out. That's been Steve. I'm Jay. This has been a one-on-one interview. Thanks for watching.